It was a sultry summer night in the city of Ashland, a small metropolis surrounded by mountains and a winding river that bisected it. The streets were busy, but on the third floor of an elegant building in the city center, the silence was absolute, except for the occasional sound of a glass being placed on the table. Delegate Marina Duarte, a woman in her 40s, known for her coldness and obstinacy, was in her office reviewing the papers of a complicated case when she received the call. On the other end of the line, the tense voice of one of the officers said, "Deputy, we have a homicide at Rua das Magnólias, 72. It looks like a crime of passion." Marina arrived at the location in less than 20 minutes. The crime scene was a high-end house, decorated with extreme care. In the center of the room, the body of Ricardo Antunes, a famous lawyer in the city, lay in a pool of blood. A kitchen knife was at his side, but what was most disturbing was the expression on his face, something between surprise and terror. The first testimonies came quickly. The victim's wife, Laura Antunes, an influential businesswoman, was visibly shaken. She said she had gone out for a business dinner and, upon returning, found her husband dead. Neighbors claimed to have heard screams around 9:30 p.m., but none of them witnessed any strange movement. Marina watched Laura closely. His eyes were watering, but there was something about his posture that didn't feel right. Even so, it was too early to draw conclusions. The next day, during the forensic analysis, an important discovery was made. There were traces of skin under Ricardo's fingernails, suggesting that he tried to defend himself. Furthermore, the knife found had no clear fingerprints on it. It appeared to have been carefully cleaned. Marina knew she was dealing with someone meticulous. The investigations took an unexpected turn when it was discovered that Ricardo was having an affair with a young woman named Isabella Rocha, an art student who worked at a local gallery. Isabella, when questioned, admitted the incident, but assured that she had no reason to kill Ricardo. Marina noticed that Isabella was scared, but did not find any inconsistencies in her statement. Days later, a turnaround occurred. A neighbor gave police footage from a security camera installed in front of his house. The video showed a man entering the Antunes residence on the night of the crime. He was identified as Enrique Barreto, a former close friend of Ricardo and, as revealed during the investigations, Laura's ex-boyfriend. Confronted, Enrique initially denied involvement, but Marina realized he was lying. The delegate pressed, "You were there, Henry. Why?" After hours of interrogation, he gave in. "I went there to talk to Laura. She called me. He said he wanted to see me." Laura, when confronted with Enrique's statement, vehemently denied it. Marina knew something didn't fit. Action and reaction. Laura was trying to hide something, but what? It was then that Marina asked for a warrant to investigate Laura's phone records. The data revealed a sequence of messages between Laura and Enrique on the night of the crime. In them, Laura asked him to go to the Antunes house to confront Ricardo. The messages were vague, but they indicated that Laura knew more than she was letting on. When confronted, Laura finally broke down, "I never wanted this to happen. I just wanted Ricardo to feel scared, for him to stop his affairs. I didn't know Henry would do that." Enrique, when pressed again, confessed. He said he lost control during an argument with Ricardo. The repressed passion for Laura and the resentment for Ricardo were the trigger. Marina closed the case with both arrested, Laura as indirect principal and Enrique as executor. The case made headlines for weeks, but for Marina, it was just another example of how passion and jealousy can be dangerous fuels. Returning to her desk at the end of that day, she sighed, picked up a new file, and started all over again. Days passed, and Marina could not forget the details of this case. There was something that still bothered her. Why would Laura risk everything by asking Enrique for help? Her demeanor during interrogations was cold, but at key moments, it seemed almost rehearsed. Marina decided to revisit the crime scene. She wanted to observe with a fresh eye, hoping that something new would emerge. When he searched Ricardo's office, he found a built-in safe that had not yet been opened. With the help of the forensic team, they opened the safe and found compromising documents, evidence of corruption involving Ricardo's influential clients and records of his betrayals, including details of his relationship with Isabella. This discovery opened a new line of investigation. Was there anyone else with reasons to want Ricardo dead? Marina realized that the case was far from being as simple as it seemed. Now, she needed to consider that the crime might not be as passionate as everyone thought. Upon further analyzing the documents, Marina discovered something even more alarming. Among Ricardo's records, there were falsified contracts and illicit payments directed to a known criminal organization in the region. The names that appeared in the documents included influential figures in local politics and even well-known businessmen. This connected Ricardo to something much bigger than marital betrayal. With this information, Marina focused her investigation on Isabella. She was called back for questioning, and, after being confronted with the documents, she began to reveal more than before. Isabella admitted that she knew about Ricardo's activities, but insisted that she had never been involved. However, Marina realized that the fear in her words was not just because of the confession of a love affair. She seemed to be protecting someone. In the same period, another event brought more complications to the case. One of Ricardo's former clients, a businessman named Gustavo Leal, was found dead under suspicious circumstances. Gustavo also appeared in the vault documents. The pattern was undeniable. Ricardo was not just trapped in personal intrigue, but in a network of blackmail and corruption that was now being dismantled. Marina, with her team, started to connect the dots. It turned out that Gustavo, Ricardo, and other members of this network had recently fallen out. Encrypted messages on Ricardo's cell phone, recovered by experts, indicated that he was threatening to expose the entire scheme. This made him a target not only of those close to him, but of powerful enemies. Enrique, when questioned, confessed that he had received an anonymous call days before the crime. The voice suggested that he confront Ricardo, insinuating that Laura was in danger. Marina began to realize that Enrique had also been manipulated, a piece in a much bigger game. The investigation culminated in an operation to dismantle the criminal network. Businessmen, politicians, and even a high-ranking local government official were arrested. Laura and Enrique, although still guilty for their roles in the murder, turn out to be minor pieces in a much more complex puzzle. With the case concluded, Marina reflected on how it all started with the appearance of a simple crime of passion. The reality, however, was much darker. The delegate closed the file and, as she prepared for another day of work, she knew that her determination and intuition had revealed a truth that many had tried to hide. Once again, justice prevailed, but not without the cost of exposing the darkest side of humanity.